There's no question that Trump got annihilated here. And MAGA has the same problem that the establishment has. The establishment thinks that everybody thinks like them, and they think, oh my God, doesn't everybody love the status quo? No, the overwhelming majority of the country constantly wants change because their lives are not as good as the millionaire anchors on television. But television anchors just cannot get that through their heads, right? And they love corporate rule, but the rest of the country doesn't. And MAGA has the same problem because they think, oh, doesn't everybody know that Haitian immigrants are eating cats and dogs? I saw an out-of-context video online that right-wing media told me was Haitians. Oh, that's it. All the immigrants are eating cats and dogs. Look, MAGA, you're not getting it. No one else thinks that. First of all, it's not true. The local cops say it's not true. Everybody says it's not true. But not only that, the rest of the country doesn't think like you.
Piers Morgan had Cenk Uygur, Michael Knowles, and a couple of other guests on his show, including Tommy Loren and other people. It definitely is a super panel. The title of this Piers Morgan Uncensored episode says it's a super panel, and it definitely is. And things got very, very heated on the topic of the Donald Trump versus Kamala Harris debate. Let's get into this clip where Cenk Uygur loses his mind and Piers Morgan shuts him down, as well as Michael Knowles and other people just shutting down this woke lunatic Cenk Uygur after he's losing his mind over this Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump presidential debate. Let's check this out.
Your name on the title. What's the matter with you?
Because our network is gigantic. It's not just about me.
Let me start with you, Cenk, because you've repeatedly called me a Trump sympathizer, a Trump whisperer, a Trump supporter, all these ridiculous things. I'm very happy, as I tweeted earlier, to say to you that I think Kamala Harris not only won the debate last night, she won it quite comfortably. And I was very surprised by that. I thought she began nervously, but grew in confidence. Trump started confidently and then pretty much lost the plot and responded to a lot of her deliberate goading in entirely the way she would have hoped. So I think it was a big win for Kamala Harris. It may not move the needle in the immediate aftermath in terms of the election, but in terms of momentum and in terms of what happened to the Democrats after the last debate, you've got to say it was a good night.
Yeah, Piers, look, in your intro, you're fair and you're right. Kamala Harris definitely won and Donald Trump clowned himself. But you're kind of rooting for Trump and you could tell that you were disappointed in how it went. So I get it. You guys are friends. It's okay.
I'm actually, you've always miscategorized. Just to be clear, I'm not disappointed. I genuinely thought he was going to win. They're different things. And he didn't win. And that's a problem for Trump and a good night for Kamala Harris. So let
me know in the comments right now up front. Do you guys think Trump won that debate? Because I definitely think he did. I don't really think regardless of like his emotional performance, I do think he got a bit flustered and a bit heated at times, which I wish he didn't. But regardless of that, when you have substance on your side, when you have like the facts on your side, and when there's somebody in office currently and the country is just going in, like running into the ground, when you're debating the person or one of the people most responsible for the country getting run into the ground, it's kind of hard to lose an argument. You know, like it's one thing to say, oh, Trump got emotional, he got flustered, whatever. And Kamala Harris definitely wanted that to happen. She was trying to goad him into doing that for sure, like Piers Morgan said. But that and losing the debate, in my opinion, are two different things. And it's very hard, if not impossible, to lose a debate against a person about the current state of the country and about what you're trying to do to change the country and make it better, whenever the person you're debating is mainly responsible for the country being in turmoil right now. It's hard to lose that debate, especially on substance.
Different things. You know, I don't have a horse in the race. I can't vote for anybody. I do know Trump way better than I know Kamala Harris. But I'm always trying to be fair. I've told you this before, and I think I'm being fair now when I absolutely say Kamala won.
Yeah, I hear you. Look, it's your bias, whether it's slight or significant, is irrelevant. Don't sweat it, okay?
I'm not biased.
You know what, Piers? I pardon you. Okay.
All right, let's move on.
So seriously, look, I was on here after the Biden-Trump debate, and I said Biden got annihilated, and he did, right? You have to be fair and objective, and I think you were in the intro here. There's no question that Trump got annihilated here. And MAGA has the same problem that the establishment has. The establishment thinks that everybody thinks like them, and they think, oh my God, doesn't everybody love the status quo? No, the overwhelming majority of the country constantly wants change because their lives are not as good as the millionaire anchors on television. But television anchors just cannot get that through their heads, right? And they love corporate rule, but the rest of the country doesn't. And MAGA has the same problem because they think, oh, doesn't everybody know that Haitian immigrants are eating cats and dogs? I saw an out-of-context video online that right-wing media told me was Haitians. Oh, that's it. All the immigrants are eating cats and dogs. Look, MAGA, you're not getting it. No one else thinks that. First of all, it's not true. The local cops say it's not true. Everybody says it's not true. But not only that, the rest of the country doesn't think like you. So when
I mean, it is kind of all over social media, you know, like I don't know if it's propaganda or not. Regardless, though, there's a huge immigrant problem. I mean, regardless of if they're eating cats and dogs or not, they are taking control of hotels and apartment complexes using violent force. Like that's happening. Whether or not the city managers or whatever those quote unquote moderators were saying last night, trying to fact check Trump on, are saying that it's happening or not, they are doing that. And even if they're not, there's still a huge immigration problem. So regardless of what exactly is happening and the details of it's happening, if they're eating cats and dogs or not, it doesn't really matter. There's a huge immigration problem. Kamala Harris is the main cause of the immigration problem. And so therefore, it's kind of hard for Donald Trump to lose on that topic. I know that everybody's going to focus on the fact that he brought up them eating cats and dogs, which, I mean, maybe he could have just left that part out and still easily won that topic, because now it gives everybody an out. It gives people like Cenk Uygur and Piers Morgan an out to talk about the fact that Trump brought up that, which may or may not be true. We don't know. It's not confirmed whether or not that's happening right now, but we are seeing a ton of videos of it happening on social media. So I don't know. But regardless, there's a huge immigration problem. And I wish Trump didn't bring that up, because they wouldn't have an out on that. It wouldn't have been, oh, Trump brought up this ridiculous point. It would have been, yeah, Kamala Harris is kind of the cause of this massive immigration crisis, which is still true, but it gives them an out to talk about something else. It gives them a way to change the subject off of Kamala Harris's massive failure.
When you say stuff like that, you sound unhinged. When you insist Trump still won the election as Trump did last night, you sound unhinged. When you talk about post-birth abortions, that's not a thing that exists. I know in your mind you think it does, but A, it doesn't in objective reality. That's just called murder, and there is no such law in America at all. Right-wing media lied.
If you enjoy content like this, then make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
To you through and through and tricked you. But most importantly, the people that are going to decide this election are not MAGA, are not establishment. They're guys in the middle. And when they see Trump talking about eating cats and dogs and executing babies, he looks nuts, and it drives them all into Kamala Harris's arms. So if you're MAGA, you should be furious at Trump tonight.
Okay.
Or today.
Let me go to Tommy first on this. Tommy, I want to play that clip where he talked about the Haitian migrants eating pets. Let's take a look.
What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country.
The thing is, Tommy, that should have been a home run for Trump, right? This is absolutely his wheelhouse. She was the border czar. She's dropped the ball massively. That's all he had to say. But going down this ridiculous conspiracy rabbit hole of...
I don't pre-watch these. You guys know, I don't pre-watch these. I agree with Piers Morgan. I don't think that it's a conspiracy theory or anything like the conspiracy rabbit hole that he's talking about. I think that there's probably some truth to that stuff that we're seeing, because we are seeing it pop up so much now. I don't know. If it was true, I don't know why they would record them doing it if they were doing it. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if that's absolutely lunacy, like if that's really happening. I don't know, and I don't really care that much. Yeah, it does infuriate me if they are eating cats and dogs. It infuriates me every time I see one of those videos. Is that actually happening? You know, is that the immigrants taking over apartment complexes and eating the pets there? I don't know, and I don't care. There's an immigration crisis. Kamala Harris is the cause of it, and I wish Donald Trump would have stuck to that, like Piers Morgan said. I have to agree.
Migrants eating everyone's pets, which had already been discredited. Certainly there's no actual evidence to prove it at the moment. It just seemed, you know, as Cenk says, he sounded a bit nuts, and he lost the momentum of what should have been a home run.
I don't disagree that he missed a huge opportunity to hold her to account on the border invasion that happened on her watch. She didn't answer why she let 10 million plus in. That was a question she was asked that she dodged, because the low-hanging fruit is to talk about the bipartisan border bill. But I don't disagree with you. Trump had an opportunity to hold her feet to the fire, and he didn't do it. Now, I will also say this. If Donald Trump wanted to talk about Springfield, Ohio, or Aurora, Colorado, or other communities that are being devastated by mass immigration of foreign nationals, he could have taken that opportunity, because it's a very real thing that's happening. Sanctuary cities are going broke and bankrupt, taking care of millions of people that have been thrown into their communities that refuse to assimilate. He could have discussed it in that way, because these communities are being devastated, and you have people at city council meetings that are quite frankly talking about it. But he chose to go a different route. I wish he had not done that. I wish he would have taken the bait. There's no doubt he took the bait, he took the hook, he took the line, he took the sinker, he took the entire frickin' boat. And I am frustrated by that, and I am intellectually honest enough to say it. I wish he had not done that. He missed several opportunities last night, but that does not change the fact that Kamala Harris's record, both in 2020 and 3.5 years in office, is abysmal. I wish he would have focused on that.
Yeah, I agree. Let me bring in Michael, actually, on this as another conservative here. Were you disappointed when that debate finished, that Trump played it the way he did?
I thought it finished strong. I felt that Trump's closing statement was excellent. I agree with you, Piers. He should have given the closing statement probably as the introductory statement. I thought Trump did very well for the first 20 or 25 minutes. I thought that was a pretty clear victory. And then when Kamala, quite good at manipulating people, was able to get him to fall for the trap on the crowd sizes, that did throw things. However, that was also when the moderators stepped in, the so-called moderators. And so you really did have a 3-on-1 debate at that point. There were missed opportunities, but Cenk earlier mentioned that President Trump said all sorts of things that aren't true, and the example he used was the notion of post-birth abortion, the notion that babies are killed through abortion after birth. And Lindsay Davis, who was one of the so-called moderators, made this point when she fact-checked Trump. But she was wrong, and Cenk is wrong, and this is really happening. And the irony of it is that one of the chief proponents of killing babies who survive abortion after birth is Kamala Harris's own running mate, Tim Walz. This is not difficult to look up.
You know what's really disgusting and sickening? The fact that whenever people like Michael Knowles or Donald Trump or Piers Morgan or anyone brings up that there's post-birth abortions happening, you're a sick human if your first reaction is, no, it's not. That's not happening. Because your first knee-jerk reaction to this information should not be, like Cenk Uygur is doing right now, shaking your head no and deny. It should be, oh my God, that's happening? We need to look into that. So if your first reaction to hearing that there's post-birth abortions happening, like Donald Trump, like I said, like all these people are bringing up, like Piers Morgan is bringing up, your reaction should never be like Cenk Uygur's. Your reaction should never be like Kamala Harris's, where you laugh at it and you shake your head no. You laugh at the sky. Like, if that's your reaction, you're a sick human being and you're completely brainwashed. Because your first reaction to that information, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, should be, oh my God, that needs to stop. If it is happening, we need to look into that right now. But instead, they're like, oh, no, that's not happening. That's not happening, because they're so brainwashed, because they're so inundated and they're so focused on their candidate winning that they don't even care that there could possibly be the small chance that could be happening in their brains. They just push it out, and they're like, nope, have to deny it because I need my candidate to win. And if that's happening, my candidate has a lower chance of winning, so I have to just say it's not happening and block it out of my brain. Like that's just sick behavior, man.
Within the past couple of years, Governor Walz in Minnesota repealed legal requirements that would force doctors who have babies who have survived abortions to provide medical care for them as they would to any other patient. So that is happening. When President Trump quoted the Democrat governor of Virginia, Ralph Northam, who said that after a baby is born, if the mother doesn't want it, they'll have a conversation with the doctor, see what they're going to do. That's on tape. You don't need to take my word for it. You can go watch it on tape. So there were multiple instances of the moderators intervening and lying on Kamala's behalf, and then they never at any point fact-checked Kamala's lies. So I agree. I'm not saying it was the greatest performance ever. I think there were a number of missed opportunities from President Trump. I suspect his campaign advisors told him not to get aggressive. I thought it was crazy that he never called out the moderators. People always ought to attack the media in politics.
Do you know what I thought? You know what I thought, Michael? I just thought at the end that he was a bit boring, Trump. And the one thing he cannot be is boring, because the point of Trump is he's so different to every other politician. He either makes you laugh, or he shocks you, or he's combative, or there's stuff always going on, which is compelling. I just didn't find Trump very compelling last night. I just felt that he was very repetitive. And he got caught in various traps that were laid for him way too easily. But ultimately, I just thought he wasn't very entertaining either. So on every level, he wasn't Trump-like.
I agree there were a few moments where there should have been more pizzazz, but then don't forget, when he was talking about the cats and the dogs and the Haitian migrants, which we're all calling it a discredited story, but of course there are Springfield residents talking about this, and really all of the kind of evocative graphic details are really just there to call people's attention to the fact that Kamala Harris brought 300,000 people from a failed state with rampant cannibalism into the middle of America. That's something that most
100%. Michael Knowles is correct here. And you can see Cenk Uygur's face once again. Their first reaction, instead of being, oh my God, like, could there actually be migrants eating people's pets? They're like, no, that's not happening. Ridiculous. That will get my candidate to get not elected and make her lose the election. So therefore I have to just say it's ridiculous and shake my head and laugh at the sky. That's how you know you're a sick person. You know, like Michael Knowles said, regardless of if it's true or not, when I see those videos of people cooking cats alive, dude, I don't even like cats, and that boils my blood way more than seeing a million people come through the border. You know, seeing them cook cats, like, I don't know, it just does something to me. It makes me feel something emotionally, and it probably galvanizes the rest of the people out there too, saying like, oh, this migrant, this immigrant, illegal immigrant stuff it's actually a big deal. We should actually care about this a whole lot more, because for me, and maybe this is different for other people, but I'm sure there's other people like me too, where you can see as many immigrants coming through the border for free, easily, with unchecked, undocumented. You can see all that stuff. It doesn't really do anything to you that deep emotionally. It doesn't make you like bubbling, about to burst with anger. You can see these people taking over apartment complexes. That makes you a little bit more emotional. But then you see them cooking cats and eating dogs, and it's like, that's where the real emotion comes in, where it's like, okay, these people need to get the hell out of here. Like, we got to do something about this. And even if it's fake, I mean, it's still doing the job, right? Because the immigrant crisis is real, and it's a real problem that needs to be solved. Let me know in the comments what you think about this Piers Morgan Uncensored episode with Michael Knowles, Cenk Uygur, Tommy Lauren, and this other dude that didn't even talk. Let me know in the comments what you think about this whole Cenk Uygur versus Michael Knowles and Piers Morgan about the Donald Trump versus Kamala Harris presidential debate. Who do you think won? Who do you think won in the debate? And also, who do you think won on this panel? Do you think Cenk Uygur's correct? Do you think Piers Morgan's correct? Let me know in the comments what you think about this whole Piers Morgan Uncensored episode.